There was a CEO who was so workaholic that he literally died at his office. He was found dead at 8 a.m. in the morning. But before that, at 2:11 a.m., he had a heart attack. How did his assistant find him at 8 a.m.? What did the cameras show? Why was the door locked? Let me explain. The CEO was a 62-year-old man. He was the founder and CEO of a major tech company. Everyone was shocked. Everyone was saddened. His employees mourned the loss of their beloved CEO. But there was one question that was on everyone's mind. Why was the CEO in the office so late? He was not even on any call. He was not working on any project. He was just in his office alone. According to his employees, he was a workaholic. He expected the impossible from himself and from his employees. There was literally zero work-life balance. But he was very well liked by the staff. There was no one in the cafeteria. It was only after 3 a.m. that someone was seen entering the office. The door was locked from the inside at 3:15 a.m. He was known for his booming laugh and his bear hugs. So one night he was working in his office till late. At 2:11 a.m. he died of a heart attack. His assistant came in at 8 a.m. in the morning to find him dead. The security cameras in the office lobby showed him walking out of his office at 3 a.m. He was seen talking to some of the night shift employees, and he even greeted them with a hug. But those same employees said that they saw no one. The office was supposed to be empty. All the lights were turned off. The reception was empty. The news of his death spread like wildfire. We may never know the answer to that question. Maybe he was working on something big, something that he didn't want anyone to know about. Or maybe he was just a workaholic who couldn't help but work till late. Whatever the reason, he paid the ultimate price. He left this world doing what he loved the most, working in his office. This is the host. And if you want to hear more such interesting stories, subscribe to my channel. This is the most compelling unsolved mystery I've ever seen. In 2016, a family in the suburbs of Chicago hosted a block party. They set up a large white tent and invited all their friends and neighbors. In one corner of the frame, for just 1 second, 3 children were playing. And what's strange is that they looked directly at the camera. And that's when things got weird. The neighbors said they didn't know the kids, and they never saw them before. But the most unsettling part was that no one recognized them. It was a beautiful day. The kids were playing, the adults were talking. It seemed like your typical block party. They're laughing and screaming and totally engrossed in whatever game they're playing. But when the family later reviewed the footage from their security cameras, they noticed something strange. At first, the family thought maybe it was a group of kids from the neighborhood, so they asked their neighbors if they knew anything. So where did they come from and where did they go? The family never got an answer. Well, perhaps because everyone was focused on the entertainment in the other corner of the yard. When you watch the video, you'll notice that the kids pause for just a second and look directly at the camera. It's almost like they knew the camera was there. It's possible they were trying to sneak into the party. But when they saw the security camera, they stopped and decided to run off. Today, we're going to examine the security footage and see if we can find out what happened to these kids. Here we go. Right next to that, you can see a man in a white shirt holding a microphone, and just behind him, you can see 2 women dancing, or the 3 children we're talking about. They're playing in the street, and they look like they're having a great time. Now, if you look closely, you'll notice that there are a lot of adults around, but none of them are paying any attention to the kids. Everyone's kind of focused on their own conversations. You can see the mother of one of the kids in the red shirt. She's talking to a man in a blue shirt. Just to the right of her, you can see another woman in a pink shirt. And just to the left of that, you can see a man in a gray shirt. So why didn't anyone notice the kids playing in the street? Just to the right of the kids, you can see a man setting up some sort of stage or a DJ booth. It seems like the party was primarily taking place in the other corner of the yard. So the kids decided to play in the street. But the most compelling part of the footage is what happens after this. Then after that, they quickly run off screen. When the family played the video back, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The kids had vanished. I'm gone nah. Take a stab in the dark here and say that I think the kids knew they were being filmed. Of course, that's just a theory. If you have your own theories, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. One morning, a man was driving to work. On the way, they found 2 decomposed bodies in the back seat of the car. The man's face had been beaten beyond recognition. In the man's wallet, They found 2 theater tickets for a play that was being performed in another city where the man had lived before he moved to the place where he was murdered. What was the name of the play? A Perfect Murder? A woman's body was kneeling in such a way that it was clear that she had been begging for her life. The authorities couldn't figure out how these 2 people had gotten into the man's car, how they had managed to kill him and decompose in such a short amount of time. They searched everywhere, but found nothing. There were no fingerprints in the car. It seemed as if the car had been sitting there untouched for weeks. The only evidence that the man had ever existed was his phone with the last call still connected to his ear. He stopped at a parking lot to park his car. After he got out of the car, the news of the brutal murder spread like wildfire. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was afraid. The police were still clueless about the murder, but they had a lead on who might have done it. The problem was, they didn't have enough evidence to arrest them. Who would want this guy dead? His colleagues said he was a hard-working man, a little uptight, but overall a good guy. His neighbors said they never had any problems with him. He wasn't a drug dealer or a pimp. His house was in perfect order. Everything was in its place. There was nothing that would suggest that the man had ever had any enemies. He started to walk towards the building when his phone rang. He looked at the caller ID, and it was his car's own number. Confused, he answered the phone. All he could hear was heavy breathing from the other end. Then a blood-curdling scream. "I'm sitting next to you." He turned around and saw his car door open and 2 people in the back seat. They were sitting close together and whispering to each other. "Get away from me," he screamed, and started to run. He could hear them whispering and breathing heavily behind him. "Get away from me, please. Help me," he screamed at the top of his lungs. But no one could hear him. No one could see what he was seeing. And so he died right there in the parking lot, right there on the pavement. He collapsed and had a heart attack right in front of the 2 people who were in his car. When the police arrived at the scene the next day, but then the police found something strange.